The alarm on my wrist buzzed twice before I even reached the chamber doors, and my hands were already sweating around the handle of the crate. Something inside it slammed against the metal wall hard enough to make me flinch. My name is Clara Bennett, and in the next 10 minutes, I was about to break every rule of the Interstellar Council without saying a single word. The invitation had arrived a month earlier. Every delegation was asked to bring a companion creature to the Grand Chamber on Velcor Station. A pet, a soft gesture meant to ease the tension between species that still did not fully trust each other. Humanity had joined the Council only 4 years ago, and most of the galaxy still saw us as unpredictable, even dangerous. This event was supposed to change that. It was supposed to make us look gentle. I stepped through the doors, and the sound hit me first. Soft chirping, gentle humming. Dozens of alien delegates sat in a wide circle, each cradling something small and delicate. A Doran ambassador held a round, fluffy creature that purred in 6 different tones at once. A Speeth diplomat carried a tiny winged thing that floated lazily above her shoulder. Near the center, a Halvex elder stroked a silver-furred kit that fit entirely inside his palm. Every pet in that room looked like it had been shaped by 1,000 years of gentle breeding, soft, quiet, harmless. I looked down at the crate, shaking in my grip, and felt my throat tighten. I found an open seat and set the crate down slowly. The growling from inside had settled into a low, steady breathing, but the shape pressing against the metal walls told everyone nearby that whatever I had brought was not small. Conversations near me faded into whispers. I felt dozens of eyes shift toward my seat like a wave rolling across the room. The council speaker, a tall being named Soren Halkir with pale green skin and sharp golden eyes, raised a hand and called the session to order. He explained the purpose of the gathering, then began calling delegates forward one by one to introduce their companions. The Doran creature sang a short melody that made the room smile. The winged thing did a slow spin through the air and drew a soft round of applause. The silver kit gave a tiny bow that looked almost rehearsed. It was charming. It was safe. It was exactly the picture the council wanted to see. Then Soren turned toward me. "Delegate Bennett, please introduce your companions." My hands did not shake, even though everything else in me wanted to. I knelt down and opened the crate. 2 young wolves stepped out onto the chamber floor, lean and long-legged, their fur still patched with the softness of youth, but their jaws already lined with teeth built for tearing through frozen meat. Their amber eyes swept across the room in seconds, calm but alert, taking in every face, every movement, every possible threat. They were not bred for this. I had found them as newborns near a human research outpost on a moon called Farron 6, orphaned after a storm took their mother. I raised them myself, feeding them through the night, sleeping beside them through their first cold winter, teaching them that my voice meant safety long before they understood anything else about the world. The chamber fell into a silence heavier than stone. A translator device near the front spat out a single word in 3 different languages at once. Predator. Another voice, further back, said something closer to horror. Unbonded. Somewhere near the ceiling, security drones shifted their sensors toward me with a soft mechanical hum. Soren raised a hand slowly, his golden eyes narrowing. "These creatures are not domesticated, Delegate Bennett." "No," I said, keeping my voice steady. "They are wild-born. I did not remove what they are. I taught them to trust me despite it." Murmurs spread through the chamber like static crawling across glass. The Doran ambassador pulled her purring creature tighter against her chest. The Speeth diplomat's winged pet folded itself into a small, frightened ball. I understood the fear filling the room. Every other pet here had spent centuries being shaped to never resist, never growl, never show teeth. Mine had simply been asked to trust one person, and nothing more. The larger wolf, a female I called Storm, lifted her head and caught the scent of something unfamiliar near the far wall. She took several slow steps toward a council guard standing near the exit. The guard's hand twitched toward the weapon at his side, A small, instinctive movement, but Storm noticed it instantly. Her ears pressed flat, and a low sound rumbled out of her chest that silenced every voice in the hall. Every drone above us reoriented at once. My heart slammed against my ribs so hard I could feel it in my ears. For one long second, the entire chamber seemed to hold its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. I did not shout. I did not lunge toward her. I lowered myself to one knee, kept my voice calm and even, and said her name. Storm, easy now. She looked at me, and for a moment, the tension in her body eased. Her ears lifted. The growl faded into a quiet huff, and she turned and walked back to sit beside my leg, as though nothing had happened at all. The guard slowly lowered his hand. A collective breath moved through the chamber like wind through tall grass. Soren studied me for a long moment, his expression unreadable. You calm her with a single word. I do not control her, I said. She trusts me. That is a different thing entirely. A ripple of quiet disagreement moved through part of the room. An elder from the Halvex delegation rose slowly, her pale blue markings catching the light. Her voice was sharp, but genuinely curious rather than angry. Why would anyone choose to live beside something capable of harming them? Every species here has spent generations removing danger from their companions. You have done the opposite. Explain this choice to us. I stood, resting one hand gently on Storm's head, while the smaller wolf, a male I called Fen, pressed quietly against my other leg. Because my people never removed danger from our lives, I said. We learned to live beside it instead. Fire could burn down everything we built, and we used it to keep ourselves warm anyway. The ocean could pull us under in seconds, and we sailed across it without hesitation. Somewhere deep in our history, a wild animal walked toward a human fire instead of running from it, and a human chose to let it stay. That single choice became something new. Not a cage, not control. A bond that only means something because either side could walk away, and neither one does. The chamber stayed silent enough that I could hear Fen's quiet breathing beside me. A companion that could never harm you is not really trust, I continued. It is simply the absence of risk. Storm could hurt me if she wanted to. She does not, because I earned something in her that cannot be bred into a creature over 1,000 years. I earned it through cold nights feeding her by hand, through mornings spent calming her fear, through moments when walking away would have been easier, and I chose to stay instead. The Halvex elder tilted her head, studying me carefully. And if she chose differently tomorrow? Then that would be the risk I accepted the moment I chose her, I said. The same risk your people accepted the day you first reached out to mine. The words settled over the room with more weight than I expected. I watched expressions shift around the chamber, subtle but unmistakable. I understood then what this gathering had actually been testing. It was never simply about showing off gentle pets. It was about watching how humanity would present itself when given a choice between looking safe and being honest. Every other delegation had chosen safe. Without fully planning it, I had chosen honest. Soren rose slowly from his seat, his expression thoughtful. Many across this council have debated what to make of your species since you joined us. Unpredictable, some have said. Dangerous, others have insisted, with less kindness. Today you brought two creatures capable of real harm into a room full of strangers, and you controlled them not through force, but through connection. Perhaps that answers the question we have been asking for years. I did not know how to respond, so I said nothing, and let Storm lean her weight against my leg, while Fen finally relaxed enough to flop down and chew lazily at the edge of my sleeve, completely unaware that he had just become part of a turning point in interstellar diplomacy. Slowly, delegates began approaching, cautious at first, curiosity gradually overcoming fear. The Doran ambassador knelt at a respectful distance and asked how I had taught Storm to respond so quickly to a single word. A young Speeth aide asked whether the wolves would ever be calm enough for others to approach. I explained patience, consistency, and the slow, steady work of earning trust, rather than demanding obedience. Fen, sensing the shift in mood, wagged his tail with clumsy enthusiasm and won over half the room simply by looking harmless while doing it. By the time the session ended, the chamber that had gone silent with fear an hour earlier was filled with quiet conversation and careful hands reaching out to feel fur that was not soft in the practiced, bred way of the other pets, but rough and real and alive. As delegates filtered out, Soren approached me one final time. He looked down at the two wolves curled together at my feet, already dozing after the excitement of the day. "You did not bring them to prove your people were harmless," he said quietly. "No," I answered. "I brought them to show what we actually are. Something capable of harm, choosing every single day not to be." He nodded slowly, and for the first time since I had arrived, something close to respect settled into his expression. I gathered the crate, though neither wolf showed any interest in returning to it, and walked out of the chamber with Storm and Fen moving quietly beside me, unleashed, unforced, simply choosing to stay close, because that is what real trust looks like. Behind me, the whispers had already changed, no longer about danger, about understanding, and somewhere in that shift, humanity finally found its place among the stars, not by pretending to be gentle, but by proving that strength held back by choice is the rarest kind of gentleness there is.